Hey there everybody, it's time for another informal weekend video from yours truly. Along with last week's video, I hope it gives you an idea of what I'd like to do with this channel at the weekends moving forward. So let me know in the comments below if you like it or hate it. It's more informal than our weekday videos, and unlike those videos when I do try and be as impartial as possible, these weekend videos are a little more of me and a little less of the journalist. Today, I want to talk to you about consumer and manufacturer choice in the electric car marketplace, because in recent weeks, I've become personally quite frustrated with some of the sentiment expressed, both in the comments section on this channel and more widely on the internet. Look, it's well established that Tesla is ahead of the curve when it comes to electric vehicle production, development and sales. Its Model S, Model X and Model 3 are shining beacons in the automotive world, and quite rightly. They are examples of what an electric car could and maybe should be, but they're also being used as sticks by many to bash every other single freaking car company and car buyer over the head with. I'll give you an example. Company A brings out a new car. It has decent enough specs, but it doesn't match the Model S, the Model X or the Model 3 exactly in terms of its specifications, or some other feature that people deem an absolute necessity. And so the critics dissent, just as FUD, that's fear, uncertainty and doubt, is spread by some people when it comes to Tesla, so too is FUD being spread about every other car company out there who may have or is thinking of bringing an electric vehicle to market. Sadly though, it's often people complaining about FUD against Tesla who spread the FUD against other car brands. So I'm going to call it a name: reverse FUD. Reverse FUD, just like the regular anti-Tesla brand of FUD we're all used to, is actually causing some problems in the automotive world. Aside from making everyone look like Tesla fanboys or infighting idiots, it's doing absolutely nothing to encourage people who can't afford Teslas to make the switch from internal combustion engine vehicles to electric cars. So, in an attempt to inject some sanity into the proceedings, and in the interests of following the same kind of thought processes I had in a recent video on Tesla shorts versus Tesla fanboys, there's a link here, I'm going to state a couple of things I think we all need to remind ourselves of moving forwards. First up, the goal of Tesla as a company has never been to be the world's only electric automaker. Its goal is to accelerate the transition to renewable energy and transportation. Elon Musk himself has said many, many times that he welcomes healthy competition in the plug-in and energy marketplaces. Therefore, it makes sense that anyone who supports Tesla also welcomes competition in the plug-in car marketplace. Responding to news of a new plug-in car from another company with, "Yeah, but Tesla is better," or "You'd have to be stupid to buy this," does nothing at all to help accelerate that transition. Why? Well, as I'm about to explain for my second point, not everyone has the same needs and desires when it comes to cars. If you ask 100 people to list the top 5 things they look for in a car, you will see some strong trends, such as affordability, cost of ownership, fuel economy, and perhaps practicality. Some of these things are very easy to quantify. Others, well, they're more subjective. What's practical for a family of 6 from the suburbs may not be practical for a single person living in central London. You're unlikely to find a car that fits the needs of both sets of people equally, and we need to stop pretending that that's the case when it comes to electric cars. Also, different people will put those things in different orders. For example, one person may put fuel economy above practicality. For another person, practicality will be the important thing. If we translate that into electric vehicle parlance, it means quite simply that range and recharging provision may be the most important thing to customer A, but customer B may not think so. Customer B may instead be okay with a smaller range, but want to have a vehicle with a larger cargo space or perhaps a lower sticker price. Look, I know we all know this, but reverse FUD mentality is becoming prevalent, and it mimics the super aggressive stance held by oh so many groups in history who feel downtrodden or marginalized. The expectation is that they're going to be attacked, and so therefore they make themselves always on the offensive and attack others, and they often end up destroying what would otherwise be solid allies in their fight to achieve their set goals. And I'm talking about things like saying they're planning to kill electric cars, etc., etc. Before I go on, I should of course acknowledge that it could be interpreted that what I've said is me living in cloud cuckoo land, a place where everyone is striving to do the same thing, and I know that that's not the case. Some automakers are reluctant to produce electric cars, and some aren't even advertising the cars they produce. But whenever a new production car comes to market or is unveiled, we should be praising it for what it brings to the table rather than criticizing what it doesn't do simply because it doesn't match Tesla or our own internal view of what an electric car should be. Imagine for a second that everyone in the world owned an iPhone. like everyone. There was no Android, no Windows, no alternatives, just Apple iPhones. It would be a truly terrifying world for consumers, as they'd have no choice as to which smartphone to buy, and it would also be terrifying for Apple too, at least in the long run, as it wouldn't have any healthy competition pushing it to be a better company. I've owned both sets of phones and I've enjoyed them, and that's where we need to be with electric cars. We need to acknowledge that a new car coming to market with a range or acceleration time that may not match Tesla's latest and greatest doesn't necessarily make it a bad car if it provides a useful set of features for some buyers. Personally, for example, when it comes to my needs for an electric car, I only need to accelerate to highway speeds quickly enough and avoid getting into trouble. And in terms of range, well, about 150 to 180 miles is fine. Indeed, I'd accept a lower range if I had a more affordable car that could charge super quickly. Certainly more than I would have a car with 300 miles of range. Why? Because I'm not going to use that range in all but the tiniest of edge case scenarios. In conclusion then, well, we need to welcome plug-in cars into the plug-in world and highlight what they're good at. We need to celebrate and educate customers about them so that people who may be interested in them can be added to their list. We shouldn't be gatekeepers for others' own personal choices, and let's face it, aside from a house, cars are the most expensive thing that most of us are going to buy. If Company A and Company B bring models to market that doesn't match Tesla precisely when it comes to range, acceleration or charging, but get more people plugging in and driving electric, then I'm personally happy, because these people are no longer driving internal combustion engine cars. I suspect Elon Musk would think the same way. Granted, we need to call out a car company when they really are being idiots, but most of the time they're not. Isn't it more important that a customer find a car they like rather than blindly buy a car that meets their needs because FUD tells them it's the only option? Tell me your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.